Hey guys, how's it going? I'm David Lenartowicz, and I'm a comedian. And with all this quarantining stuff going on out there, we're just not getting out. And a lot of people wanted to hear some of the stuff that I had to say. So I just thought that I'd make a little video from home and try to include you guys in it. And I'm just going to kind of keep it loose, and I'm just going to tell stories from my life and tell some jokes that I wrote, and talk about stuff, and hope you guys like it. So I've been doing a lot of the online dating, and it gets interesting. Some of the people, they're just so politically correct out there. This one girl, I was talking to her on one of those dating apps, and I was trying to impress her, and I was sending her pictures of food because I'm a pretty good cook and I like to brag, and I'm one of those people who takes pictures of food. And she asked me, she said, "Why do you keep sending me pictures of food?" And I was like, "Oh well, uh, I'm sorry." And I actually had to apologize for sending her unsolicited dish pics. It's just really bad out there, So um, I also want to kind of just go over some of the hard parts of internet dating. There's all these people out there catfishing. There's a lot of scammers out there, depending on what sites you use, and it can be difficult. As a comedian, I like to kind of push people too far and see what they're going to do. I had some lady who said she was a model, and and that she was like just sent to LA on a photo shoot, and she had mentioned she had a 3-year-old kid. And I said, "Well, what do you do with this 3-year-old kid while you're out on these photo shoots?" And she, "Oh, he's in boarding school. He's in boarding school." It's like, okay. And we get to talking later, and I've seen her pictures. I've already done a reverse image search. I know that she's fake. And a little while later, she said, "Oh, um, I'm sad," which is always kind of a like the call for you to come in and be the hero. You're supposed to come in and be like, "Oh, what's wrong? How can I help?" So I came in to be the hero. "I'm sorry, what's wrong? How can I help?" She says, my my son's in the hospital. He had a broke leg, and the doctor won't let him out until um, I give him another $350. I just gave him my last $350, and he won't let him out of the hospital until I give him another $350. Huge red flag there. So I said, "Well, I can help you with that." She said, "Oh, really? You're such an angel." And it's like, okay. So then I just start talking about other stuff. And she says, "Do you need my information?" I said, "Well, what information?" She says, "My account information." I said, "Oh, account information." I said I would help you. I didn't say I would give you money. So then I just sent her a picture of a picture of LA with all of the uh, dollar payday loans highlighted on it like that. And she's like, "Oh, but how will I pay that back?" I said, "I can help you with that too. You said you're from this area, and we have a really great school district, where you said you're from. So if you put your kid in that public school rather than an expensive boarding school, you'll pay that off in no time." And so I had this scammer actually thanking me, not having any idea how else they're actually going to ask me for anything. But, that's one of the things that comedians do. We try to look at things in a different way, and 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 see the obnoxious people out there and push their buttons. That can be a lot of fun. So one time when I was in the Navy, I was stationed down in Guantanamo Bay, and we're all having a big party, and the music's going and everybody's drinking. We're having a good time, and me and a buddy, we're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna play Gestapo." And they're like, "Oh, really? How do you play Gestapo?" And so we had one person sit in a chair and another person with a cigarette. "What is your name?" And then no matter what the person says, you say "lies" and you slap them, right? So we were having a little bit of fun with that. "What is your occupation?" "Lies," and then you slap them. And So, like, a couple of us sat there and got slapped and did the slapping, smoked a cigarette, and yelled lies. And then this one guy who was sort of on the outside of the social circle comes up and he's like, I want to play. And we're like, really? Yeah, yeah, I'll sit in the chair. Okay. And so, we start on, what is your name? Lies! And slap him. And then, probably about 2 or 3 questions in, all of a sudden the dude starts crying. And, like, everybody stops and kind of turns and looks, and he goes, I was born with both parts, and my parents chose to make me a boy, and I wish they would have made me a girl. And, like, literally a record stopped. And, I'm not saying anything bad about the dude. But if you're going to choose to reveal important parts of your history, you've got to pick the proper time and place. And literally, like, a record stopped. And you heard the scratch, and everybody just stopped and just kind of looked. And it was, God bless the dude. I wish him luck, and I hope he's happy doing whatever he's doing now. But it was funny at the time. It was interesting. But Cuba in general was a pretty interesting place. A lot of people don't know that it's a huge nature reserve. And so I got to do a lot of scuba diving when I was down there. And, it's interesting. A lot of the creatures under the sea, these are big, massive fish with big brains, and they're smarter than you give them credit for. And they go through a whole thinking process. And I was down spearfishing in Cuba, and I get down to like this reef, and it's about 100 feet underwater, and there's all these huge red snapper around, and as soon as they see that I have a spear gun, they just disappear. They don't want anything to do with it. And it's because they're smart. They know what's going on. So what I would do is I would look down at the little milk conch, some seashells that were there, and I would like just pick those up and look at those, and the fish would get curious. They would come up and they would be like, "You can't eat those. What's he doing?" And then you'd get closer and closer, and then eventually I'd pop up and I would get a nice big fish. There were some, like 50-pound snappers down there. But I was hunting in this same area, and I'm noticing that this barracuda is getting closer and closer to me. And he's about 5 or 6 feet long. He's pretty big. And if you've ever seen a barracuda, they've got teeth like this, man. It can be quite scary to look at. And he's getting closer. And eventually he gets where he is within gun range. And he's just lined up, perfectly sideways. I had the whole length of his body coming out. And he's just eyeballing me, and giving me that mean look. And so I get up and I point the spear gun at him. Right? And then I hit him, and it hits bony plate right there by his gills. And he bounces off, and he just flashes up. What'd you do, bro? What'd you do? Oh, you try to get me? And I know this fish is pissed. And I keep making eye contact with him because I am not taking my eyes off of this fish. I know that he's going to attack me if I do. So I'm like loading up my spear gun. I'm drawing it back. And I get it loaded up, and I aim it at him. And he looks at me and goes, all right. Swims off. Like, that was like some gangster shit coming out of that fish. He was pretty tough, man. And the wildlife there was just so cool. I got to see a sea turtle when I was down there scuba diving. And any of you older folks will remember Jacques Cousteau. If you guys remember, John Denver had a song that he did based on the ship of Jacques Cousteau, this famous underwater explorer guy, the guy who invented scuba. And John Denver was, "Ah, Calypso, we sing to your spirit, the places you've shown us so long and so well." And so, that was an important marker in my childhood. And I remember I see this sea turtle, and I think back to my childhood, and I see Jacques Cousteau underwater going, "Oh, the lovely sea turtle." And then, like, Jacques Cousteau gets on the back of the sea turtle, and Jacques Cousteau waves at the camera, "The lovely sea turtle." And the sea turtle waves at the camera, "Oh, the lovely Jacques Cousteau." And, so I got excited. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what Jacques Cousteau did. So I grab onto the back of this sea turtle, and it just swims in circles over and over again, like trying to bite me. And I'm like riding this sea turtle in circles while it tries to bite me. And so I realized that, Jacques Cousteau was full of shit, man. Those are some paid off fucking sea turtles, man. That shit wasn't real. So never go onto the back of a sea turtle if you see it. They don't enjoy it as much as Jacques Cousteau portrayed. So now that you older people have that, "Ah, Calypso, I sing to your spirit," stuck in your head, enjoy that. So that was some fun stuff. So the other day at work, we have this guy. He's like all about the conspiracy theory that there's a flat earth, and God bless these flat earthers. It's not very scientific. Some dude just died trying to strap himself to a rocket. It's crazy. So I don't necessarily subscribe to the flat earth theory. This co-worker is going on and on. He's just enthralled with the whole flat earth idea. And, everybody else at work was kind of like, put off by it and just thought the dude was crazy. But, the good thing, he's a good worker and he's always on time. And, one day all of a sudden he's like a no-call, no-show. And, my buddy's like, "Oh, man, I'm worried about him. He's never late. He would call. I'm worried something happened to him." I said, "Dude, I mean, I'm sure everything is fine, but if something did happen to him, he's got flat heaven, so nothing to worry about there." But, I think this makes a good first video. It's an attempt. We got 13 minutes in. I talked that much. And I'll organize some stuff and make some more of these videos. This is just some of the stuff that goes through my head. But I will leave you with this one. I was reading the Bible the other day, and, I came across this really beautiful story. And Jesus is walking down the road, and he sees these guys that are stoning this prostitute. And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, guys. That is not cool, man. That he was without sin cast the first stone." And I thought, wait a minute. Isn't Jesus the one without sin? Did my Lord and Savior just call dibs on stoning this chick? Hey, that's a thought. And I told my dad that joke, and I said, in 2,000 years, I think I'm the only person who ever saw that passage and thought of it that way. And he said, "No, David, you're the only person dumb enough to actually say it." So, but you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know, comment, if you want more videos, if you want me to work on some stuff. My other fellow comics, if you have advice how I can make it better. I know I said a lot. We'll work from there. Please comment, let me know, what can I do better. Have a good night, guys. Love you.